And if you want to be even more cliche, which you can do, and again, that's me. If you know anything about me, I'm pretty unoriginal. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to carve in a little thing here. And let's do something even funner. I'm going to go here. We've already talked about Z-spheres, so let's keep doing it. Z-spheres, I'm going to add a Z-sphere here. If you know how unoriginal I am, you're going to see exactly where I'm going with this. I'm going to hit E to scale this down. And then I'm going to go hit Q to go into draw mode. I'm just going to drag and hold down Shift and snap that to the original size of the Z-sphere. And I'm going to hold down, hit Q and then hold down Shift and snap that. And I'm going to make a cute little worm. And then if I want to make this more bendy, I can hit tap Q to go into draw mode and then just tap here and then W to kind of move these around. There we go. Let's make him a little more dynamic. He's going to like swing around and be like, hey, what's up? I'm a core worm. And he's actually going to look probably a little bit creepy. But if I want to keep this mesh, what I can do is I can hit A to kind of give me a preview of that. And if I turn on polyframe, you're going to see it's going to look like a Dynamesh, which maybe I want that, maybe I don't. I'm going to go down here to Adaptive Skin, change my Dynamesh resolution to 0, turn density down to 1, and now I'm just getting polygons here. That's a pretty good preview. I can hit A to toggle preview on and off. I like what I see. I'm going to hit Make Adaptive Skin. Now, don't let that confuse you. This is not sculptable. I mean, you can go in and sculpt on it, but it's still, at the end of the day, a Z-sphere. So I don't need the Z-sphere anymore. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And where I put that adaptive skin is just out here in my tool repository over here. So I'm going to go over here to append. And we're just going to append that skin Z-sphere here, go out of transparency mode. And now we got a little worm mesh here. If I want to make it shorter, I'm going to use my transpose line and just kind of non-uniformly scale that. Of course, you can use whatever you'd like for that. You can hold down Shift to kind of smooth this out. And I think that's a pretty good worm shape. Let's go ahead and let him hang a little bit there. If you want to, you can use your Inflate Brush, which is right down here, or you can go into your brush menu by hitting B, I, and then doing Inflate. So we got a little wormy guy going. And of course, if you want to, you can just go down here to Geometry, Dynamesh with a resolution 128, and we can Dynamesh that up. If you want to also use the Inflate Brush to kind of give him a little bit of personality here. We'll make him like a cartoon worm so he's not gross. And I don't want you to think that this is like a rotten apple because there's a worm in it. I'm just doing unoriginal Apple Core stuff. So don't take this as a commentary on ZBrush Core as a whole. I think it's a great program. I'm just making a worm. So speaking of personality, let's give this guy a little bit more personality. I'm going to crank his resolution up to 256. And now if I want to, I can go to my insert primitives here. I can hit M, grab a sphere, and we'll give him some eyeballs, like so. And I want to go ahead, since these are different polygroups, I'm going to hold down Control-Shift, go to our select rectangle, isolate that eyeball by Control-Shift tapping it, Control-Shift drag to invert that, Control-Shift tap the other eyeball. And with those hidden, I'm going to go to my subtool menu, split hidden. Now his eyes are a completely separate subtool, so I can kind of control them separately. And you know what? Let's get even crazier. I'm going to go and grab a cylinder 3D. I'm going to go to initialize here because it's a primitive. I can't sculpt on it. It's going to yell at me. But I can go in here and do an inner radius. And I can do a Y size. Nope, I want to do a Z size. There we go. So we can kind of shrink that down. I'm going to make him a little pair of glasses. So with that, I'm going to hit Make Polymesh 3D. So now I got a polymesh cylinder right here. I'm going to grab my guy here. I'm going to go to Append. I'm just going to grab that polymesh cylinder I made, Alt tap it, W, and you can use the gizmo or you can use rotate, move, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to scale this down. I think, let's see if we also have deformation. Yeah, we have size. So if you don't want to do scale, you can do size, and then I'll kind of size it down quite a bit. Go into transparency mode so I can see it. And let's go ahead and just put a pair of glasses on this dude. On this worm, excuse me. And I'm going to rotate this around, scale it down a little bit. Now, if I'm going to end up Dynameshing this, which I think I am, I'm going to have to be at a pretty high resolution. So I'm going to go ahead and preemptively make my Dynamesh resolution pretty high. Let's say 400s. Turn down blur. We're in good shape. So Dynamesh here, maybe not. There we go. And if I want to make this a little bit thicker, what I can do is I can tap to find that surface normal and hold down Shift and make it thicker this way. And I can also go in here to my deformation menu, Inflate, and I can just run an inflate. So instead of using an inflate brush, I can use a overall inflate and just kind of inflate it along its surface normals there. So let's go ahead and get this guy's glasses on. So I'm going to rotate this around. Now there is no, if I remember correctly, there is no Control-Shift dragging of objects here. So I'm going to go here, I'm just going to hit Duplicate, W, just kind of move that over here. And now if I want to merge these down to put them, make them all into one object here, I'm going to just go to my Merge menu here, Merge down, Control drag to Dynamesh those together. And instead of adding a box or something in order to get these into place, what I'm going to do is just mask this corner here. I'm going to change this from mask last, go to dot stroke. I'm going to mask here, and I'm going to mask here. Control tap to invert that mask, hit W to find that normal. I'm just going to pull this straight back like so. And that's going to be my glasses. And let's go ahead and get this on his head a little bit better. Hopefully around his eyes. Nice. We've got a cute little worm with glasses on. And again, if you want to just go in here, let's up the ante just a little bit. Let's go to our Dynamesh, change this resolution a bit so we can get some resolution on his hands. And you're going to see as I'm moving this, there's actually top. It looks like I can't. Oh, okay. So if you grab this top one, that'll be very small increments. And then if you grab this bottom one, that's large increments. So you can kind of grab both of those. And I'm going to go in here with my Damien standard. I'm going to hold down, not hold down Alt and just kind of carve in a little mouth. Then I'll go hold down Alt and just kind of carve up a little mouth. And I can go in here with my pinch brush and just kind of pinch the corners. I can go in here with my insert primitives, and we did this earlier. All right, you know what? Let's just do our clay brush. Grab your clay brush and just really quickly, you don't got to get too fancy. Just give him a little bit of cheeks here. Cuten him up. Okay, super cute worm. And when we go to render this thing, you can go in here and just add pupils like this, but it'll probably look better in Keyshot if we go ahead and just do insert mesh primitives here. And let's do hit M, let's do a quick cylinder. Drag that onto the eyeball, hit W, hold down Shift, and just kind of give him big cylinder pupils here. Or what we can also do, let's do this. Let's hold down Control, and we will mask this area here and this area here. And hopefully it doesn't make a liar of me. Let's go to our subtool menu. Yes, we have an extract here. I'm going to do an extract. Let's just see. We can extract, and that's kind of doing some serious thickness. Let's do this thickness of like 0.01. Okay, that's a little bit better. So we'll extract those off, and it looks like it got rid of that. So I'll mask this side. And this is just an extract preview. So if you like what you see, you can hit accept. And now we have, if I go into solo mode here, you're going to see we have the eyeballs with the masking we just did. We can control drag to unmask. And then if we go down here to the extraction, we have the extracted mesh here with the eyeballs painted in. So now what I'm going to do is just hold down Shift and kind of smooth these out. But first, I'm going to go over here to our resolution on our Dynamesh, crank that up, make these a Dynamesh, and now I'm just going to go in here as smooth. And it's on smooth stronger, so I'm going to hold down Shift, crank that Z intensity down on smooth stronger, just so it's not going nuts on it. And then go in here with my move brush. And just kind of even these out. So now we have pupils on that we can assign a different material to when we go in and render this in ZBrush or render this in Keyshot. Okay, so we've got our apple core. Now we just need to do the apple skin. We can do the apple skin where we just hold down Control and extract that off as a separate subtool. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to duplicate this entire subtool, this entire apple core thing, and I'm going to go over here to Inflate. I'm just going to type in 1, enter. Actually, let's just crank that up. I'm going to go like the 7, I suppose. And now what I can do is I'll go back in with my clay buildup, or this one doesn't really matter. I'm going to go with my standard, and I'm just going to kind of eat away. So I'm just going to kind of leave a thin skin covering here. So it's actually the same subtool. It's just inflated a little bit, and you could do a deflate if you wanted to. And now what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to have, is essentially a skin just covering this top part. So I'm just going to go around. And again, if you don't want to see this worm, just Alt tap him, go to your subtool menu, tap his name, that'll turn his eyeball off, Alt tap any other subtool, and now he's gone. And I don't want to go into solo mode because I'll lose the apple I'm trying to get rid of. But just really quickly, let's go ahead and just get rid of all this. We're just essentially just leaving his skin, and if you want to, you can go through and you can inflate more or less. I think this will be a good skin size, I hope. And then once we're done having fun, I mean, we'll still have fun, but once we're done with this particular part of having fun, what we're going to do is do a little bit of texture painting and a little bit of material and lighting. And then we'll get into rendering, and then I think we're done. I think that'll be a pretty decent overview of ZBrush Core, I hope. Hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. All right, so we got an apple core, we got apple skin. If I want to show everything, I can just tap, it's with a poly, with a subtool selected and the eyeball on, I can tap that off, it'll turn off all the eyeballs. And then with a poly subtool selected with no eyeball, I can tap the eyeball, bring everything back, and we're rocking and rolling. So I think we have everything we need to start doing a little bit of texture painting, materials, and lighting.